Welcome to the Jazzy Eyes Podcast, taking care of your vision with expert precision. Here's your host, Dr. Laura Falco.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jazzy Eyes Podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Wolf, and I'm joined by your host, Dr. Laura Falco. Dr. Falco, always a pleasure to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, of course. And thanks to our listeners, of course, for tuning in. So why don't we get into the topic today? I'm going to have you talk a little bit about, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Demodex Blepharitis.
Yes.
All right. So please, I'm not familiar. I may or may not have this myself, because I know when I met you, you gave me some, what were they, like topical, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Some lid wipes, probably.
Little lid wipes for something that might be Demodex Blepharitis. So please enlighten us. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
So the first thing I want to just talk about is blepharitis, and basically the suffix itis, which is basically an inflammation of anything. So like appendicitis, any cellulitis, anytime you have an itis, it means you have an inflammation of the tissue. When you have blepharitis, it's quite a general term. It's an inflammation of the eyelid margin on the top and the bottom. Specifically, think where your eyelashes connect into the eyelid. I tend to see a little bit more inflammation in men than women. And part of the reason I think that is because women wear makeup. So when we remove our makeup and we wash our face at the end of the night, we pay special attention to make sure our mascara is off, our eyeliner is off. So we're using cleaning products that are specific for the eyelids on the eyelid margin every day. Men, no offense, sometimes wash their face and kind of ignore the eyelids. So they'll wash around their face, their cheeks, their forehead, their, eyebrows, but maybe not the lids per se. And the job of your eyelashes is, as you're blinking during the day, to catch everything that's in the air, dust, pollen, bacteria likes to live right on that lid margin. And all day as you're blinking, your eyelashes are supposed to catch everything in the air from prevent it from going in your eyes. But as you blink, throughout the day, if you have an accumulation of whatever is in the air and bacteria and dead skin cells on your eyelid margin, as you blink throughout the day, that material will fall into the eye throughout the day. Things that you might experience are irritation, grittiness, red eye, even itching, depending upon, what it is that's falling into the eye at the end of the day. So over time, that can develop an inflammation of the margin, and then we have blepharitis. Now, what we've found is Demodex, which is basically new. I'm sure we've had it for a while, but we're really just using electron microscopy to look now at exactly what's living in the eyelashes. And as you know, like all over your skin, if you looked with a microscope, you would see organisms and you have natural flora. So I don't want people to freak out, but there is something called a Demodex mite, which under like gross magnification, it almost looks like a little worm, but not a worm, but it's it's a mite. It's a very little organism, and it loves to live and feed on all the gunk that lives right on our eyelash margin. Sometimes people think this is dandruff. If they look in a mag mirror and see they have flaking along the lid margin, the Demodex is really diagnosed by your doctor, because you do need to look with a microscope, because it leaves a slightly different kind of residue on the eyelash margin. Now, before everyone, panics and freaks out, I have mites. It's pretty common. I think it's been there for quite a while. We're just looking at a tissue now in gross magnification. And the good news is it's super treatable. So you'll see a lot of products say Demodex now, and the thing that really gets them is tea tree oil, which I don't want anyone to get out and get tea tree oil and use it right on their eyelash margin because they would burn.
Tea tree
oil. Mm-hmm. So that's an essential oil. But if you see, it is now part of a lot of eye cleaners, wipes, because it cleans the gunk, it kills the mites, it cleans everything in it, and it works. For patients that have really, really severe cases, I have an in-house treatment that we do where I numb the eyes and I really scrub with a special tea tree scrub that you can't use at home. I have to do it, or a doctor has to do it. And it gets rid of it all. And there is a new medication out by a company called Tarsus. The medication, it doesn't roll off the tongue. It's called Xdemvy. Anyway, that is the first medication of its kind that is an eye drop that you would really put on your eyes, but like really concentrate in the eyelid margin. And it's 1 drop twice a day for about 6 weeks. That is the first FDA-approved eye drop for this particular type of blepharitis. So there are all different ways you can have an inflammation in the eyelid margin called blepharitis, but we were just specifically today going over this one, which is the Demodex mite, which is super responsive to the tea tree based oils, and then this one new medication for those cases that are pretty severe. So again, this is why you go in once a year for an eye exam. We check to make sure the eyelashes look clean. I would also caution women who are getting extensions in their eyelashes, which is super popular, to really make sure that they get those inspected, because those are just breeding ground for more gunk to live on. So it's really important that you clean those properly as well.
Interesting. So if I understand this whole segment correctly on the blepharitis, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way I'm seeing it in my mind is kind of like the eyelids or the windshield washers on a car, and they constantly are cleaning all the gunk off, and they're pulling it down to the base of the windshield, where it kind of builds up there. And that would be like the base of the eyelids that are getting kind of gunk built up from all the blinking throughout the day. Right. And the lashes pick up the dirt and whatnot, and then it deposits on the, is that a good analogy?
So the eyelashes, the point of the eyelashes and the reason, just like you have cilia in your nasal passages as you're breathing, is to catch all the dust, pollen, everything in the air that you don't want to get into your eye per se. The eyelash's job is to catch that, to be like a pre-filter and a HEPA filter, if you will, to catch some of the stuff before it lands in your eyes. And it's important to clean it, and clean those. So I think that's where a lot of people fall short, is that when they wash their face, they don't really pay special attention to the eyelashes. And over time, you can have all the stuff that's in the air. And those of us who have pets, if you snuggle your dogs and your cats, and then obviously gunk lives on their hair, and now it can live in your eyelashes. Like it's just, every night, every morning, to get into the routine to clean the eyelash margin.
All right. Very good. And that was definitely helpful for me anyway, right? Because you gave me those little pads to wipe my eyes, and I'll be the first to admit I haven't been doing it daily. So any friendly reminder to continue that is definitely helpful. So you hear that?
I love the pre-moistened towelettes too, because if you travel, one less liquid that you have to worry about getting through TSA, because you can, literally just take a pack of they're good eye makeup removers. They're good, end of day, like they refresh the whole eye area, clean off all the gunk, and they're easy to travel with. So I love those.
All right. Very good. Dr. Falco, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Looking forward to our next segment. Everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Everyone, take care.
Thank you for listening to the Jazzy Eyes podcast. For more information, visit jazzyeyes.com or contact 954-473-0100.